All right, for more on this now, we now bring in SABC News correspondent Trent Murray, and he joins us now from Germany. Trent, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Now, we do understand that the polls have closed, and maybe if you can just start off by just letting us know, when it comes to the results trickling in, how soon can we expect that?
Well, look, I think we can say now it is a historic night. We are starting to see some very clear vote counts and projections being made. Friedrich Merz, the opposition leader, has claimed victory and is on course to place first in this election, well ahead of his nearest opponents. He will enter coalition negotiations now to form a government, but it certainly looks like we will have a change of government, a change of leader after the Conservative Party did very well with its results. But of course, the flip side of that is the incumbent Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, has not had a great night. His centre-left Social Democrat Party has suffered its worst result in post-war history here in Germany. They've sit around 16%. This is from a party that used to score in the 40s. They're now down in the mid-teens. He has accepted responsibility for that election loss, and I guess the history books are now going to show he was a one-term chancellor, which I would imagine will be difficult for him and his legacy, given that he followed 16 years of former Chancellor Angela Merkel.
And maybe just give us an insight in terms of seeing Friedrich Merz and what this will actually then mean for Germans to be under, his leadership.
Yeah, look, Friedrich Merz is an interesting politician in many ways. He actually ran against Angela Merkel 20 years ago for the leadership of that party, but he was unsuccessful, of course, and she led the party and went on to be a very successful chancellor in election wins. He went away to the private sector, went and worked in banking, and then when she decided to retire, he came back into politics and made a run for it again. He's led the party for close to 5 years now in opposition, and it seems that patience has paid off, because he is on the cusp now to be given the keys to the Chancellor and becoming the next leader of the Eurozone's biggest economy. What we do know, though, is it's not necessarily going to be easy. He can't get there on his own with his own party. He doesn't have enough of a majority. He's going to have some difficult coalition negotiations, potentially with the centre-left Social Democrats, in order to reach a majority. But he has said tonight in his victory speech that those negotiations have to happen immediately. They have to get started, because in his words, the world just cannot wait right now. It needs Germany to have a proper government in place to try and deal with some of the major global challenges that we're seeing, especially here in Europe.
And a tough task ahead, really, when it comes to those coalition talks. And who is he most likely, to be talking to right now to form some sort of government?
Well, look, he doesn't have a lot of options in many ways, and that's because the party that came second is the far-right Alternative for Germany, and he has ruled out working with them because in his view they are too extremist, too far to the right. They have pushed strong rhetoric and policies around increasing deportations of illegal immigrants, calling for tougher law and order. They've rallied against things like renewable energy, and they're also quite anti-EU, sort of in their political DNA. So for all of those reasons, Friedrich Merz has said he just will not work with them, despite the fact that they really probably share a lot of voters in terms of on that conservative side of politics. So once you remove them from the equation, you're really only left with the centre-left Social Democrats or the environmentalist Green Party. And there's still some arithmetic that needs to play out tonight as those final votes come in. But as I say, we don't expect those coalition negotiations to be very fast, because we well know in South Africa with the Government of National Unity, discussions will be had about which ministers will take which ministries and which policies will be brought in together. All of that will play out, we expect, over coming days and weeks, and then we will have to finally see how that government shapes up.
And Trent, when it comes to, just the mood in Germany, I mean, these elections taking place during one of the coldest times in that country. What is the mood like when it comes to Germans who came out in their numbers to vote?
Well, look, I think a lot of the reason we are seeing the fact that the current Chancellor Olaf Scholz did quite poorly is there is a lot of concern about the sort of future of Germany and where it's heading, particularly with its economy. It's not doing very well right now, economic-wise. Olaf Scholz, it would appear, took a lot of the blame of that tonight and was punished by the voters. The war in Ukraine has been very disruptive because it's interrupted energy supplies, particularly for Germany, given that before the war it took a lot of its energy and gas from Russia, which was all effectively severed then in the wake of the Ukraine war, meaning that electricity prices increased here significantly. There is also uncertainty around law and order and security, issues of terrorism, which certainly is something that the AfD tried to campaign heavily on. And so I think the mood right now is people are looking for stable and strong leadership, given the sort of uncertain, turbulent waters that Europe is facing, which really, I guess we could say, has only been made more uncertain by the events in the US of recent weeks. President Donald Trump certainly has had Europe in his crosshairs over issues like tariffs and trade deficits, and I think the German people and its government are sort of bracing for some kind of combat over rhetoric ahead when it comes to trade and some of those difficult issues with the United States.
All right, Trent, thank you so much for that update. That is SABC News correspondent there, Trent Murray, just giving us an update when it comes to the polls in Germany.